Hey everyone, I'm Emma and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over all of the books that I've read so far this year. There are not many, but considering how packed these last 6 months have been, I can proudly say that I have read a whole 11 books already in 2023. In this video, I'm going to be going over all of those books and also giving a little bit of a brief review about them, telling you my star rating and then also generally what I thought about it. As a disclaimer though, I should put it out there that I'm not always the best at putting my book thoughts into words. So this is just a quick warning that my reviews might not always make sense. I do have, however, my computer over here with some outline thoughts to hopefully keep me on track. And I also should mention that I tend to be a mood reader. So if my selection seems kind of all over the place, that's why. So I have my own like little Excel spreadsheet where I track it, but I also use Goodreads to track my books and reviews of books when I write them. It isn't comprehensive by any means, like my entire TBR is definitely not on my Goodreads account, but most of it is there, and in case anyone is interested, I'll leave it in the description below. I also should mention that I use the Goodreads reading challenge and I set my goal to 23 books for 2023. Get it? So according to their tracker, I'm right on track. But anyway, that's enough of a preamble. Let's just get into all of the books that I've read so far in 2023. The first one on the stack, A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. For me, that means that it was okay. Not my favorite, but also not bad either. Now, before I go any further, I just want to say that I love Hank Green and I always will, and I also really loved the book that comes before this. I don't own it, but it's an absolutely remarkable thing. But this book, for some reason, just didn't work for me. Again, I didn't hate it, and of course, like any other sequel, I really loved revisiting the characters and seeing how they are continuing the plot and the storyline. But I think it was some combination of how the story was continued and how the characters were changed from the first book to the next that just didn't work for me. It seemed kind of confusing and I couldn't figure out like why certain things were happening, which might have been the intention. As frustrating as it might have been that I didn't fully understand like why things were happening, it was intriguing enough to keep me reading, so I will give it that. I think that in combination with seeing the characters again is what bumped it up to 2 stars for me out of 5. And so generally that is what I thought about A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor. Next up, Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. This was a book that I read for a book club that I'm a part of with my friends. This one is hard to review, as memoirs often are, because it's hard to give a review or a rating on someone's life and their experiences. I did enjoy reading it, although it was difficult at times. I am glad that I read it because I've never experienced anything that was like what was being discussed. It was hard to relate to, but at the end of the day, like I said, I am very glad that I read it. I thought it was a very beautiful book, and I do appreciate the time and dedication that was put into a project like this, and I'm grateful that it was chosen for book club and brought to me to read. Alright, third book of the year was also a book club book, and it was Blood Marked by Tracy Deonn. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This book, if you have read the first Legendborn book, you know, okay? It's hard to remember like details because I just sped through this book. I swear me and my friends just ran straight through it because we were so excited. We also read the first one in the series for book club, and it was like a group favorite. So much happened, so much was revealed, and we had so many theories for what we think is going to happen in the next one. I'm not sure how many books are going to be in this series, but I am super excited to read the next one, and this is the kind of series that I hope to add to my collection. My only complaint, and this could very much be a me thing, but I had a hard time remembering like all of the details and the lore of the world. So when they would reference things in the second book, I had to like pause and think back, or sometimes I even like went and asked my sister like, do you remember what this means? Do you remember who this is? And for the most part, I was able to refresh my memory. It might have been a good idea to do like what Kayla did she reread Legendborn before Bloodmarked came out, but I just didn't think to do that. However, I think there was enough new stuff added in Bloodmarked that it was like I was able to catch up to speed, and it didn't hinder me very much. So a refresher would have been nice somewhere in there, but again, that could very much be a me thing. But other than that, I absolutely love this book, and like I said, super excited for the next one. All right, next I read Book Lovers by Emily Henry, another audiobook for me, and I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. This was one of my first like exclusively romance books, and all things considered, I actually really enjoyed it. It was just an easy read that didn't take up too much brain power to listen to, and it was especially a nice break between like heavier books that I had just read while I figured out what I wanted to read next. Like most people, I also enjoyed that it was centered around a love of books, both reading them and creating them, so that is what drew me to it and kept me in the story. Other than that, I think the only thing I didn't like about it was how much it played into stereotypes. Like I keep saying, this could be a me thing and it's just personal preference. That might be like a key trait of the genre that I'm just not used to. And it wasn't all bad, it was just something that I'm not used to. I'm used to books kind of digging deeper than your typical stereotypes. And since I wasn't used to it, it was kind of frustrating at times. But really, that's just a minor complaint, and overall, I really enjoyed it. I definitely see myself reading more Emily Henry in the future. All right, one that's been sitting on my shelf for a little bit that I read next was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It has been months, maybe even years now, that my friends have been trying to get me to read this book, and I see why. It was really good. Just so you know, I didn't read any of the Shadow and Bone books beforehand. I double checked with all my friends and they said you should be good to just dive right into it. The general consensus was they preferred Six of Crows over Shadow and Bone, and I didn't really want to read that yet. I just wanted to read this, so that did make it a little bit difficult to get into the world and understand like the backstory or things that they were referencing from the past. But once the plot of this book started going, it was really easy and it was really difficult to put down. I mean, if this doesn't say how much I enjoyed this book, I don't know what will. I had my wisdom teeth out over the time that I was reading this book, and because I wasn't doing anything, I pretty much was just watching TV and hanging out while I was healing. I would read, and even when I really needed to go to sleep, I was reading this book and I finished it, and I didn't have the second one yet. Oh no, I did. But I just didn't have the energy to start it, and I actually still haven't started it yet. But it is happening. It will happen. Yeah, maybe I'll read Shadow and Bone. I don't know. I definitely will be reading Crooked Kingdom in the near future. All right, the next one, I lost count, but it's another book club book, and I read this on ebook. To be honest, I really didn't like this book. I think mostly I was just disappointed. Like, the blurb on the back was so intriguing, and at first, like the first couple chapters seemed really cool, but as it got deeper, it just seemed very surface level. It is a murder mystery, and about halfway through, I was able to predict how the story was gonna end, and I'm not typically good at these things. I think I wanted more, and it just wasn't there. It was a cool idea, I just didn't like the way it was done, like I said. All in all, you know, I'm glad I read it, because I think I would have been wondering if I didn't, but it was a 2 out of 5 for me. All right, the next 3 books that I've read, if you can't see them colorfully sitting beside me, are the first 3 books in the Heartstopper series. Across the board so far, they've been 5 out of 5 stars. This has been a chunk of my TBR for a while, and I can't give them a full review yet because I haven't read the 4th book yet, but this is probably my favorite series that I've read all year. I know a lot of people say it, but it's just so cute. The vibes are great, the message is great, the writing is great, the art is great. It's just all around amazing. And I actually have already added some more Alice Osman books to my TBR. I have no complaints, but I do have the 4th one and have it ready to read. I'm probably gonna start that tonight or tomorrow actually. And yeah, even though I haven't read it yet, I'm confident that it will be the same 5 stars. It's so fun to read, and I get through them so fast that it's been a good experience, and I'm kind of sad that it's almost over, but I'm excited for season 2 of the show to come out soon, and I'm gonna try and finish it before then. All right, the next one is the most recent audiobook that I've read, and it was The Summer I Turned Pretty, the first book in the Summer series by Jenny Han. Against my better judgment, I actually really liked this, especially as an audiobook. I got it just as something to listen to, like while I did my chores, and I ended up actually liking it to the point where I have the second one on hold as an audiobook, and I'm getting really frustrated because I'm on hold and I can't have it yet. Although in my opinion there isn't really any plot, I honestly don't mind that. Sometimes it works. It's just got that summer vibe that makes me want to go outside and enjoy the fact that it's summer. I don't particularly like that the whole book is about the main character's love life. Like, I did appreciate in the TV show how they kind of expanded it and focused also on other people's perspectives. I'm not sure what happens in the next two books, so maybe the events correlate, but at least from reading the first one, I appreciate that going into the TV show. It's not what I would typically read, but like I said, I did really like it actually. I do plan on finishing the series if the second one lives up to my expectations, and I am actually excited about the second season of the show coming out soon. I also can't get over the fact that it's Taylor Swift's music is just embedded into it. That was honestly one of the draws, and I'm super excited for Speak Now, Taylor's version. Not what we're talking about, but anyway. So yeah, that's how I feel about The Summer I Turned Pretty. Alright, the 11th book and the most recent book that I've read this year is yet another book club book, and it is called Funeral Songs for Dying Girls. Unfortunately, this is one of the very few books that I've given 1 out of 5 stars, meaning that I really didn't like it. I'm not quite sure what it was. You know, to put it simply, I think Kayla said it best actually. It's trying to be too many things all at once, and because it's trying to do all of these things in less than 300 pages, it's a bit jumpy and a bit like not cohesive. Like the storyline doesn't come together and make sense. It got to the point where if I wasn't reading this for book club, I probably would have put it down at about 100 pages, but I stuck it out, and I honestly still feel the same. I will say that there were some interesting parts, but overall just it didn't work for me, and I feel bad, but for me it's 1 out of 5 stars. Alright, now that we've gone over everything I've read so far, I thought that now we could go over what I'm reading right now. So since I've just finished Funeral Songs for Dying Girls, I'm now getting ready to start the 4th volume of Heartstopper, which my bookmark just fell out. You already saw me talking about this. I'm just super excited and kind of sad at the same time. I don't want it to be over, but I also don't want to keep procrastinating this. So I'm feeling a little conflicted, but I am going to start this. So yeah, that's on my list. And then our next book for book club is The Sun and the Star. I've heard such great things about this. I've heard that the story is also connected to like the page colors on the side here. And we've been waiting for this to come out for so long. Our entire book club are Percy Jackson fans. So we've been waiting for this for a long time, and I can't wait to get into it and talk about it with all of my friends. And then of course, as I said, I have the second summer book on hold. I think it's called It's Not Summer Without You or something like that, which I can't wait to listen to as well. Alright, well, that's all the books that I've read so far this year. I hope this was fun and gave you some inspiration for your next read, or maybe what not to read next. Let me know any feedback or video ideas in the comments below. And while you're there, maybe consider answering the question of the day, which is, what is your favorite book that you've read recently? Let us know and we can talk about it in the comments. If you like this video and want to see more, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.